Congratulations to us, Sports Day Tampa Bay.
What happened? What happened?
Well, what happened was, I guess I'm gonna say this might not be the Oscars of sports podcasts, but maybe the Golden Globes, perhaps. But this podcast, Sports Day Tampa Bay, according to a list by millionpodcast.com/Florida Sports, which covers all things Florida sports from college teams to pro squads, perfect for sports marketers, PR pros, and passionate fans. They did a list of the top 40 Florida sports podcasts of 2025, which is, I guess we're about halfway through.
Mm-hmm.
And not for nothing, but top in the list is yours truly and you. Sports Day Tampa Bay, number one on this list out of 40 state podcasts, sports podcasts, and some of which you've heard of, some of which you probably haven't. But I'd like to accept this award.
Well, I mean, if you've listened to the podcast, you understand why.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're not surprised. We like the mention and the recognition and the hardware, and like to thank my agent, my mom and dad.
Yeah. I'd like to talk to my agent. We need a raise.
We certainly do. We should fire our agent, whoever he is. That's for sure. You keep landing things like Breitling Boutique and roofing companies. I mean, come on. But we don't do it for the money, Steve. We do it for these people. You freaking people. But no, thanks to all the listeners out there that made this possible. I mean, obviously they have some analytics somewhere. They didn't just pick us out of a hat, or maybe they did. But whatever this outfit is.
Well, they must know our 2000 show is coming up. So.
Well, it is. It's next Wednesday. Is that right?
Another week. But yeah, we're over 19. Tonight is 1992.
Oh my God. I wish it were 1992, but yeah, the 1992. Wow, that's a lot of podcasts, man. That's a lot of late nights and no sleep. Right.
Are we worried about the show 2000, a Y2K problem, and it won't post or something? I mean, like Apple Podcasts the other day had the issue.
Well, the other day we had a little issue. So yeah, maybe when we get to 2000, it's what Prince said, right? We're gonna party like it's 1999. We're gonna be doing that pretty soon. But I don't know that I'm worried about that. I do think an anniversary show might be in order of some kind. Bringing back all the stars of the podcast over the years.
Well, is it the stars or the impressions?
You could do that too. Maybe I'll have Caliendo call me in. What do you think?
There you go.
We'll do a Gruden off, which we did one time. Frank owes me a phone call.
We should have John Gruden. We should have John Gruden judge the Gruden off.
Yeah, that would be hysterical, actually. If I could get John to do that.
We just ship him the videos of both of you guys doing Gruden in a box, and he'll open it, and then
it's right. John's going to open a box, whatever it is, man. He's definitely going to open a box.
What is this box from Sports Day Tampa Bay?
I was listening to. I was on the interweb, as the kids call it, and I came across when Gruden was coach of the Raiders, and they had Caliendo in there. And I love Frank. I've gotten to know him weirdly enough through his appearances here and different things. And going on even back to DAE when he would come to the studio and stuff. We actually did do a Gruden off in studio, and it was funny. But I was watching when he was with the Raiders, and he comes in complete Gruden regalia, the black T-shirt, the whole thing, and Gruden is there. And I forgot Mike Glennon was a quarterback because Gruden drafted Glennon. He loved the guy. And he walks in, man. He's like, Glennon, if we ever need a quarterback with a lot of neck, we got you, man. We got the right guy. And everybody's going crazy. And then, he's just going around the room. But they're like, college and salary, all that. He goes, name college and salary. He's like, John Gruden, University of Dayton. I do this for free. Knock if you're with me, stuff like that.
Not 2 times.
Yeah, knock 2 times if you're with me. Yeah, no, it was great. But hey, it's great to be recognized. It's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice, I guess. But
we did have a mailbag question. Not that we're getting a mailbag yet, but it kind of refers to this, and it was from Adam, who said, "From Peter King to Adam Schefter, even Simeon Rice, Rick never ceases to amaze me with his range of impressions. Is there a list of them anywhere?" And then he says, "I think someone should write a sketch where he uses many of the characters. They can all come together at the end, being with Gruden, along with Frank Caliendo's Gruden and the real John Gruden, all breaking down film of Baker Mayfield."
What if I got Gruden and Frank Caliendo? That would be the whole show. Like, we wouldn't have to do anything else. Trust me. It would be bizarre. But no, it's actually very funny and flattering too. Yeah, I've never made a list. It's just they just kind of come to me after a while. There are some that are certainly better than others, but Peter King, if you haven't heard, and Peter hasn't been on for a while because he retired. That was one that I've known Peter for so long, and he always had this very analytical, voice where he used to do a column in his Monday Morning Quarterbacks, it'd be, "Here are the things I think, and you go on. But I haven't.
Your Chris Berman's always good.
We'll be right back. Yeah, Berman was always good. We used to do that on Football Fridays, and in the box, do all that stuff. We did Berman. I don't know. They just kind of come to me after a while, I mean, once in a while, and I have to think about it. I would do Morgan Freeman every now and then. I would do, different ones. But the ones that are local are kind of fun. Simeon was a hard one. I mean, Simeon just has a sing-song way about him. He just like the way he talks is more about the idiosyncrasies and the way he kind of says things.
You're pretty good, Jameis.
Yeah, I never really.
It was okay.
Yeah, I never really thought about Jameis that much.
You do Derek Brooks well.
I do Derek Brooks pretty well. Derek Brooks would always make us wait on him whenever we had to interview him. And he had a routine, and no one broke his routine. Like, literally, if I needed one quote from Derek Brooks, I would sometimes have to wait a half hour. And you'd ask, sometimes you get to him, and you wait. So you wait a half hour, and you're going to ask him about the game on Sunday. They're playing Carolina or some rival or something like that. And he, come there with the towel after the hot tub and the sauna and everything. But, "Okay, guys, what do you guys want?" And I'd be like, we'd ask him a question about, "Well, again, man, I just got to let Tuesday be Tuesday and Wednesday be Wednesday. I ain't thinking about Sunday yet." It's like, Derek, we're not going to talk to you on Sunday about the game. We'll be playing it. Like, help us out here, man.
Yeah, they don't let us talk to you on Sunday.
We're not going to walk in the stadium with you. I mean, it's too late then, like the hay's in the barn, But he used to have he had this one statement that I used to love, where he would talk about sacrifice. He go, "Everybody wants to go to heaven, but no one wants to die." That was one of my favorite ones.
Yeah. But and Schiano.
Toes on the line. Actually, the Schiano one is actually Kellen Winslow Jr. doing Schiano. I never did a great Schiano, but it was always like, there's a great soundbite from years ago where Kellen Winslow was like, after he got traded or whatever, got out of here, he was talking about Schiano. He didn't like him. He's like, the guy was real too, regimented or whatever. I was always toes on the line, blowing the whistle. I had to get up on out of here, man. And he didn't like him at all. But yeah, there's some Lovie Smith, discouraged.
Oh, Lovie was very good.
I go back to disappointed, discouraged, and that started the whole thing where Tom, it says, "Now don't go leading the charge, Tom." When we were on there, Tom was spring loaded for negativity. We actually started, I guess Lovie would have been the coach back then when Tom and I were together, I think.
Was it Lovie? No, I think Schiano was still.
Was it Schiano still?
You started in May of 12, May of 2012.
Yeah, no, that would have been Schiano. You're right. Yeah. You're right. Yeah, because they traded some guys that Schiano didn't get along with. But yeah, those are good times. We'll think about it. It'd be, I'll have to write a skit or something, some kind of script to But I don't know. Maybe I could get Caliendo on our 2000s podcast. I'll have to give him a ring, see if he'll do it. Because then I don't have to do any voices because he'll just do them all. He'll have everybody call in congratulating us on our 2000 show. We'll have Morgan Freeman. We'll have Caliendo or John Gruden. We'll have, everybody. It'll be great. Donald Trump, it'll be everyone.
Yeah, everybody be calling in.
Yeah. So, but anyway,
congratulations. Big, beautiful show.
Yeah, there you go. That's right. Exactly. They're eating the dogs. But yeah.
Susan Waldman, there's another one.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh my God. Susan Waldman sounded a little like Trump there. Roger Clemens is in our box. But yeah, no, it would be fun. I might do that. I might have to shoot him, see what he's doing. Usually in the summer, he comes through the comedy clubs in Tampa. We'll get at Side Splitters or something like that. We'll see him.
Why would you come here in the summer? Why wouldn't you want to come in the fall or the winter?
Well, good. That's a good point. I don't know why. It's a great point. The last time he was here, Gruden was actually at the show. It was hysterical. And nobody acknowledged him until the very end. Like Frank ran out of material. And Frank's like, I got 5 more minutes. And give me any requests. Somebody goes, John Gruden. And he goes, I was just with him all day, man. It was at the FFCA. We were watching film. He's pointing to him. Gruden's up there smiling. But, yeah, so it's a great idea. But, no, I mean, listen, I don't know who puts together these rankings or anything like that, but you'd rather be number one than something else, right?
No, so absolutely.
We'll take it. We'll take the awards and we'll move on.
And if you want to help us out, leave a 5-star review in your favorite podcast app.
There you go.
Share the show on social media. Help us grow.
That's right. And make sure you go by Breitling Boutique, International Plaza Mall, because that's where you can find the best Swiss watches, easy for me to say, anywhere in the world, because the Breitling Company has been at this now for over 140 years. They've been in International Plaza Mall for 5+ years. You can go there. They have men's and women's watches. The men's watches, the chronomats, the Navitimers. Women's watches, if your wife or girlfriend are on the go like mine is, these are durable. They're beautiful sports watches in particular. They have all the different color wristbands and things like that she will enjoy. And it's just a great store, man. Great customer service. Spend some time in there. You'll learn about these watches, and they're going to treat you like a celebrity. They get a lot of professional athletes, and you'll see some Buccaneers in there from time to time, but they're going to treat you just like they do them, and you can learn what best fits your price range, and get a timepiece that you'll be proud of for life. It's Breitling Boutique, International Plaza Mall. If you like sports, you like the NFL, they got 32 team watches, chronomat watches, men's watches. These things are gorgeous. They've got the each team has its, the face of the watch has the team colors, and then there's logos in there and things like that. I think we still have posted the Buccaneers watch on TampaBay.com. If you go to our website somewhere, you'll see that. But they're phenomenal while supplies last, and that's the key. They've been having this promotion for a while, but maybe there's a chance that your team still has a team watch. It's Breitling Boutique, International Plaza Mall, and make sure when you go there, you let them know that you heard about it right here on Sports Day Tampa Bay. So we're watching the Rays, who are now playing in Houston as we're doing this podcast. They've kind of expanded their lead. It was 3-0, and then Houston rallied back, tied it up. Now it's 8-3 as they are in the top of the 8th inning. So
let's talk about how they tied it up first.
Well, yeah,
because the Rays were up 3-0.
Mm-hmm.
Shane Baz is on the mound. He gets in trouble in the 5th.
Yes,
gives up a home run, gives up a double, a single.
3-2 with runners on.
Lets another runner on.
Mm-hmm.
He's struggling. He's in the high 70s pitch total.
Yep.
And then Paredes is up, hits a rope to center field, which Meisner makes a good diving catch on. Gets him out of it. And that's 5 innings. And at that point, I'm saying to you, okay, he gave you 5. He walks out with the lead. Now, Baz is from Houston. That's his hometown. His family is there. His dad, all of them are there. And it's like, pitch count's not that bad, but it's, going through the lineup a third time and they're starting to get to him. You can see he's starting to lose a little edge. Yep. But they don't come get him, man. I was shocked. And they let him in there until they tied the game up, and then he was in trouble after that. Yeah, then they brought him out for the 6th. Altuve hits a home run to lead off.
It's crazy.
And then he gets, an out, a hit,
mm-hmm.
and then they finally go get him.
Yeah. So he could have left, with a lead and done his job and all that, but gets a no decision at best here, depending on the outcome of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, I just felt like, Blake Snell thought that they should have taken him out. It's like he just wasn't pitching that well.
Hey, Kevin Cash learned his lesson from the
Yeah, he
2020 World
did.
Series.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, I guess he
Don't go
forgot
get him
that.
too early.
Yeah, he was in Texas, but it was Houston, not Arlington. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe flashbacks of the World Series. I don't know.
Now,
I'll
good
tell
on the
you.
Rays the next inning though to get 5 runs
Oh yeah.
and blow the game open 8-3.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'll tell you the guy though, man, that makes him go is this Chandler Simpson guy. I mean, what a role he's on right now. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and of course, the biggest addition has been getting Josh Lowe back. I mean,
To me, that's the guy that's making it go.
he's changed everything in our lineups.
Because first, you're batting him leadoff now more often.
That's right.
Which means Brendan Lau's second. Yandy's batting third instead of leadoff because he's struggling a little bit.
Right.
And then, so now you can bat Aranda fourth, and Camaro's all the way down to fifth.
And Camaro's
right
on
now
fire.
I think that suits him better right now.
I do too. It takes some pressure off of him up high in the lineup, and he's getting good pitches to hit. And he's on fire. He had another home run against the Astros, and like I said, the Rays were able to come back after the game got tied and separate it. It's 8-3 as we're doing this.
Well, did they pick up something on the pitcher too?
Oh yeah, because when Lowe gets on and he scores, he goes immediately. I think Caminero was either up. I think it was him.
It was Aranda.
He goes to Aranda, and then I think he eventually talks to Caminero. But the next two guys hit ropes, and I think they found something that whether the pitches are being tipped or signs or something. I don't know. They don't give signs anymore, but man, they lit up their reliever, and it was a left-hander at that. Caminero, all of a sudden, man, that dude, he's on his way to him and Lowe both are on their way to 30+ home run years. I mean, they're
Camaro's at what, 12? I think Lau's at 11.
Lau's at 11. He's at 12, I think. So you could have a couple players with 30+ home run years if they stay healthy. And for a young guy, man, he's really done well to come up here and have that kind of instant impact. So
just got to keep the ball in the air more. He's getting it on the ground too much. That's why he leads the majors by a mile and grounded into double plays. But,
yeah, that's true.
And even early in this game, his first at bat, the Rays should have scored a lot more in the first inning. By the way, they had lots of runners on, lots of pitches.
Yes,
for gusto. But Caminero had what I think runners at first and second, or no, it was first and third.
First and third, yeah.
First and third. And he got one in the air, got a sac fly.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, Yandy had the sac fly. I'm sorry, but Caminero did get one in the air, just popped out, but didn't ground into a double play. It was one out, runners on first and second. So
right.
Which was better than what he had been doing. They'd rather see him hit it in the air.
Yes. Yeah, he hits a lot of ground balls in that situation. But going back to Simpson, like there was one series where I think he got a base hit. I don't think it was a walk. I believe it was a base hit. But anyway, at any rate, he steals second easily and then steals third and puts so much pressure on their defense. The catcher throws it away and he goes home. And he just completely manufactured a run by himself. Like that's Vince Coleman stuff. That's Ricky Henderson stuff. You know what I mean? When you can have that kind of an impact just with your wheels. So
yeah, I mean that's why he's a weapon that he's not going to hit you home runs.
No,
and that's fine because a single could be a triple just like that.
That's it. You're 2 pitches away from having a guy on third base.
Yeah. Or in worst case, you're distracting the pitcher.
Well, that's the thing. You don't understand how. There's enough poured into those guys to focus on the hitter and what they're going to throw and location and all of that. And, anytime a runner's on, you're pitching out of the stretch, that's a concern for anybody. But then you add the speed and the efficiency that he steals bases with. And now all of a sudden you got guys doing stuff on the mound that they're not comfortable doing. Their attention's divided. They're maybe trying to shorten up their motion to get to the plate quicker, give their catcher a chance to throw them out. There's any number of things that affects what that guy on the mound is doing, and you can see it. It's palatable. Like we watched him, basically single his way to a run, and I'm telling you, that's rare. It's rare in the major leagues to have somebody like that. He's a real weapon, especially now with guys like Lowe and them coming on behind him. So, yeah, I was. when the game got to 3-3, I'm thinking, oh, you're on the road. You kind of blew a 3-0 lead. Like, this is going to be a tough hole to dig out of if they take the lead, but they never did. They answered them right away, and
Yep.
the
And
offense
right
is
now, as
doing
we
a good
tape
job.
this, they have 2 on and nobody out in the 8th.
That's right.
Runners in 2nd and 3rd. So
yeah, chance to score 10 runs if they score these 2. So they've had some breakout nights like this where they've scored a whole pile of runs, and you like to bottle that up, but yeah, it's been, look, they're playing good baseball. They're playing great defense, outstanding defense. They're getting really good starting pitching. Bullpen has been solid. And then now you're starting to get the home run has come back, and you've got to hit home runs in the big leagues now. It's too hard, to piece together, that many hits in an inning to really score a lot of runs. So you need the big fly, and that's been the biggest difference, is that they're getting that right now. So good for them, man. I mean, it was pretty dark and ugly there for a while, especially with them losing they lost 9 out of 11 at Steinbrenner at one point. And it was funny. I was listening to an interview somewhere the other day, and they said, yeah, you know what? All of a sudden we go, 7-2 or whatever at home, and now we're not getting those questions anymore. Well, yeah, you won't, because you kind of flip the script. Now they've got an awful lot of road games coming up the rest of the year, and it's going to be tough. It's going to be really tough. But if you can play this kind of baseball and start to, pile some games over 500, then you can get yourself right back in the wild card race, and maybe back in the AL East. Who knows? So the Stanley Cup Final is set. It is a rematch of last year's final, Edmonton against the Florida Panthers, and I'll take the Panthers. You can take the field.
Well, the field is one team at this point, but Edmonton does have home ice advantage, unlike last year where Florida had home ice, and it did go to 7. Florida won the first 3 games. Edmonton came back and won the next 3, went to Game 7 where the Panthers were victorious.
Yeah.
So either the Panthers are going to be the most recent back-to-back Stanley Cup champions, or Edmonton will break Canada's drought and win the first World Series since 1993 for Canada.
First Stanley Cup Final, yeah.
No, first win. I mean, they've been in the final, but yeah, first.
Right. You said World Series. I was just correcting.
Oh, did I say? I'm sorry. We're watching baseball here, so first Stanley Cup.
Yeah. I mean, if they win the World Series, that's a great story too, because Canada hasn't won one of those in a long time.
Well, and they got less teams. They only got 1 instead of 7. So
that's right. Only got 1 team in Canada in baseball as well, in Toronto. So
that's what I mean. And in baseball, there's only 1, so it would be a lot harder to win the World Series. But
it definitely would be.
Yeah.
But listen, it should be a great series. I just think that Florida has kind of got that locked in feeling. I think that the Lightning had. It's interesting how Lightning went to 3 Stanley Cups in a row, won 2 of them. Now you have Florida going to 3 in a row, right?
Yeah. Well, the Prince of Wales Trophy, I think, has a permanent address in the state of Florida now.
No doubt.
Which is the trophy for the Eastern Conference champion, which the Lightning won 3 years in a row. Now Florida's won 3 years in a row.
Isn't that crazy? That's just crazy, man. When you think about all the places hockey are played, and and Canada and all of that. But
I mean, 35 years ago, there was no hockey in Florida.
Right. Yeah.
And everyone thought Phil Esposito was crazy for proposing to bring Florida hockey to Tampa, and then Florida got a team a year later.
Yeah. Dude, I do. I'll never forget where I was. It was the old woodshed out there at One Buck Place. I was covering the Bucks, and somebody said, "Hey, Tampa got an NHL team." I was like, "What? Hockey? Here? Before baseball?" Like, the pursuit had always been baseball, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, how in the hell did they get an NHL team before they even got Major League Baseball? But Phil Esposito was very convincing back in the day. And
it helps to be one of the greatest of all time in the sport.
No question. But he also pretty much promised anything the NHL asked for. He said yes, and then he went about going and getting it. Who's going to own him? I have no idea, but we'll find one.
No, that was the hardest part, because the money backed out at the last minute.
That's right.
And then he had to go find $50 million.
And Kokusai Green, was it? Some Japanese ownership? Yeah.
Yeah, he was over. I think he tells the story. He was over in Sweden at some charity old timers game.
Oh my goodness!
When they backed out and they had to go find money right away, and he's like, "I'm in Sweden. Like, I'm not even in the U.S." And yeah, some of those stories that he tells of what happened back in those days.
Classic.
Some are public, some are you can't tell publicly, but
kind of how the Bucks were born. We'll tell you those stories one day off the air.
I mean, it's incredible. Like Expo Hall. So, the NHL comes down, and one of the requirements you to have 10,000 seats.
Yep.
In your arena.
That's right.
And Expo Hall is not a hockey arena. It's it's not even for sports. It's at the fairgrounds, and
that's right.
And so they set up the ice, and assured them that there was 10,000 seats in there and whatever else, and set the ice up. And as soon as the NHL left, they reconfigured the ice to make it smaller to get the 10,000 seats in or whatever. It was like, kind of lying, wink, wink, nod, nod. Yeah, right. Yeah, we got it.
Yeah, no, there's 10,000. Yeah, trust me.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just just the stuff that they did. The fans coming in during the state fair into the locker room looking for the bathroom.
That's hilarious. God, that's hilarious.
Guy with his son and popcorn.
I wish I had seen a game at the fairgrounds. I never did.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't here back then, so
yeah.
And my favorite story that Phil tells is, so the first game, one of the things that Phil being a former player, anybody throws anything on the ice.
Oh, I love this story.
You throw them out because, when they played, people would throw dimes or pennies on the ice, and your skate hit that, and it would, crash in the boards, whatever, it could end your career.
Yeah.
Phil was very adamant about that. So first game, Chris Kontos scores 3 goals. He actually scored 4, but scored 3 goals.
Hat trick.
And a couple hats go on the ice, not many.
Right.
And Phil sees this usher throwing a guy out.
He's like, throwing stuff on the ice.
Yeah. And the usher said, "You said if anyone throws anything on the ice, to throw them out." Phil goes, "He got a hat trick." And the usher goes, "What's a hat trick?"
That's so good. Yeah. The hockey IQ was not very high in the beginning here in Florida. Or certainly
the last thing you expected opening night was a hat trick.
Right. I didn't cover the hat trick. Yeah.
I mean, the team, is not going to be that great that year. The way the expansion rules were, you weren't getting great players. Like, teams were able to protect 14 players or 12 players, whatever it was.
Right.
You didn't get what Seattle and Vegas got.
That's right.
Where you get a Yanni Gord and those kind of players from a team. They could protect everyone back in those days.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to NFL expansion, actually.
Mm-hmm.
You get the bottom of the barrel, basically.
Yep.
Yeah, those are funny times, man.
But yeah, Florida could have their 4th the state of Florida, 4th Stanley Cup in 6 years.
I got the Panthers, man. I'm a big believer in what they're doing right now. Although
I think they're the best team.
Yeah.
But I think McDavid is motivated.
Mm-hmm.
Not that he never is, but after last season getting that close.
He's the next great player that doesn't have a Stanley Cup, right?
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, he's the greatest player in the game today.
Yeah.
He does not have a Stanley Cup.
Right. So
and he got close last year. I mean, they were down 0-3, got back to 3-3.
Yeah.
This time, if they can get to Game 7, it's at home.
Yes. Yeah.
I still think Florida's the better team, but
they
do have McDavid.
Yeah.
And he's special.
No, it'll be fun. It'll be fun. A fun series to watch. It's still, man, it's so long to think how long it's been since the Lightning played a game, and then these guys are still at it, and they're just starting the.
A month from today was
when
the Lightning were eliminated.
Dang, that's a long time, dude. Long time. Long time for sure. We're going to be out at the Bucks next Tuesday. They'll have their second round of OTAs, and then the week after that, it'll be time for Buccaneer mini camp.
Wow, it's here already, mini camp.
Yeah, it's right around the corner, dude. It's mandatory mini camp.
Yep.
I think there was
Hassan Reddick show.
Well, and that's, it's a great question. I mean, he has to, unless he's going to be fined. I don't think there's, any animus or any underlining issue. It's not like when he was traded to the Jets and he was expecting and or hoping for a contract, extension, renegotiation. And he wanted his bag, basically. And this is pretty explicit that he signed a 1-year deal here for about $10 million. If he plays well, he's going to get paid, but it's just a 1-year deal. So financially, that should not be an issue. But and look, maybe he just wasn't there the day that we were there. But you do like to see the guy, if you're the Buccaneers, him come in there and at least learn the defense and go to meetings and begin the process of being a part of this team. Get to know his teammates, his coaches, and all that. But I understand it. I mean, they ask a lot of NFL players in the off season. I mean, it's not too crazy, but there's still, these voluntary OTAs are not as voluntary as you think. And an awful lot of guys were there. There were some guys missing last week, but none bigger than him because, he's going to play such a vital role on this team.
But here's what worries you about it. And I shouldn't say worry because it is voluntary OTAs and he is a veteran and but when they come out and say, well, we think we'll see him soon. Like, if Mike Evans was going to miss OTAs,
right,
he probably tells the team, hey, I'm not coming next week. I'm going to be here. I got this going on or whatever. Like, and granted, just because they say we think we'll see him soon doesn't mean they haven't been in contact with Reddick and don't know what his plans were. But, that's where you just want the communication there, right? I mean, isn't that kind of what happened with Randy Gregory last year? Like, couldn't they not remember? Wasn't it they couldn't even get a hold of him?
They didn't know where after he was? A while. They couldn't locate him. They were talking to his agent, but Gregory, although they fully expected him to come in and do sort of what they're hoping happens, with Reddick, but he did have a history of some mental issues and mental illness, and but they weren't able to even get in touch with him to find out why he wasn't here. I remember there was a lot of days that they were like, yeah, we really haven't talked to him. And then finally the word got back to them that, well, he's going through some stuff and he doesn't know if he wants to play football. And that was a shock. So basically what they did was they fined him every day that he missed until the guaranteed money was gone. And he basically got that eaten up in fines. So they didn't just outright release him right away when they found out he didn't want to play. They said, well, let's continue to fine him until this money is gone in fines. So, but I really don't think Reddick's in that category. It would be shocking if he's not here for a mandatory minicamp. You still I don't think
it's that category either. But
no, you still like to see the guy. You still like. He had a great attitude when he came in here and he signed and we talked to him a good while. He seems like a nice guy, and I do think he wants to be a good teammate. And the other thing is Larry Foote coached him in Arizona and vouched for him, stood on the table for him, whatever you want to say. So I'm sure Larry has been in contact. But yeah, it was overall it's a pretty good turnout, and then we'll probably see more guys next Tuesday, and then we'll see who's. I think anybody that's healthy will be participating in the mandatory minicamp. There are some guys that are on the men that way, so don't really know, but he'll be one that we'll want to talk to when we get out there Tuesday if he's there for sure.
By the way, things going so well for the Rays, or I'm sorry, the Bucks. They're now up 14-3 over the Texans.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. No, they took the home run off the board. They say no home run.
Oh, no, it's 13-3.
Caballero's a double. Well, I mean, they're still batting, but Caballero almost had his 15th.
What's weird about that? When they showed the replay, it looked like it hit the net before it came down on top of the tape. I swear I saw that, but they're saying
they replayed it and they sent him to second. So
yeah,
okay. Caballero just missed a home run, but still
only
on
13.
Second.
Yeah,
third. They missed the extra point.
Right, exactly. Well, I've seen some comebacks in Houston before. Whew. In fact, they go to Houston this year, and the last time they were there was just an epic collapse. By their defense in the last under a minute.
This year is what? Monday Night Football Week 2, right?
It's Monday Night Football Week 2, which I'm not excited about either of those prospects. That it's Monday Night Football and then it's that soon. But their first two games are on the road at Atlanta, at Houston. Houston was a playoff team. C.J. Stroud carved them up, as a rookie, and now we're a couple years down the road. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough environment, and that's why you got to get off to a good start and hope you can, get one in Atlanta because it's a division game and the count twice really in some ways, and then go down to Houston and try to take care of business there. But yeah, it's really going to be to be on prime time. Week 2 is pretty early, and they got 4 primetime games altogether. So most of them are on the road, I believe. For the balance of them, there might be.
I think the only home one's a Thursday night game.
Yes, the third. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're exactly right. So, yeah, a lot of road games on Monday, which is not good. Like they got one in, I think either a Sunday night or a Monday night game in LA against the Rams. And,
yeah, that's the week before Thanksgiving, not Thanksgiving.
That's right. And they won't be getting home from that one until about 4 a.m. So
Yep.
They got a trip to Seattle, which is not on one of the national TV games. But, yeah, a lot of travel and a lot of exposure and things like that. So they got to get ready for it, no doubt. Well, the Rays have, at this point, put up a 13 spot. Didn't they have like 13 runs the other night, too?
They beat the Blue Jays 13-0 on Sunday.
Yeah. So, I mean, 13's their lucky number at this point, at least. So, offense is coming alive, and we'll see if they can keep that going. And, make sure
it's
you guys.
It's a 4-game series in Houston, so all weekend they'll be there.
Now, is it just this series and then they come home, or they got to move on?
Yes, this series, and they're home against Texas on Tuesday.
Okay, there you go. So they'll be back here at Steinbrenner, where they've been playing really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, good for the Rays, and we'll see if they can keep it going. Thanks again for listening. You guys make this podcast possible, and all kidding aside, we're grateful for any recognition that we get. We also want you to make sure you go see our sponsors at Breitling Boutique International Plaza Mall. Seriously, they have some of the greatest watches you'll ever see, and they are affordable. You're going to walk out there with a tremendous timepiece for your wife, for your girlfriend, if not for yourself. The NFL watches, the anniversary watches, all 32 teams while supplies last. It's Breitling Boutique International Plaza Mall. Make sure you let them know you heard about it right here on Sports Day Tampa Bay.
I do have to shout out RC Ocala, who tweeted us the other day when Apple Podcast had the issue of posting the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
He sent us this tweet and says, "I had to drive to work today without your podcast. While driving my son to school, he asked, how will we know where to look for a watch now?"
I love this kid. You're hired. You're absolutely hired. I don't know. He didn't know what time it was. It's time to buy a watch, Dad. Let's go. Let's go. Forget about the podcast. Go to Breitling Boutique. We should play it there. But no, seriously, thanks for making this podcast what it is, each and every one of you. Coming up on 2,000 shows, we'll take your ideas. You want to send us any mailbag questions, you can always do that on Twitter or X at SportsDayTB. You can reach me on Twitter at NFL Stroud. Email address rstroud@tampabay.com. For Steve Versnick, I am Rick Stroud of the Tampa Bay Times. Dare I say, have a great weekend, everybody.